Hello, crowd. As a bonus episode, I had a brief conversation with Christina Curley on how she approaches sales. She highlights the importance of understanding your customers' needs prior to the sale and framing the sale as an opportunity to help people.
Starting from when I was 18, 19, basically the main thing with it is that sales is just solving someone's problem. That is all sales is. It is literally finding the person with a problem that's big enough that they're willing to pay money to fix it, listening to them so that you can figure out, that problem and how their puzzle piece of I need this help and your product helps solve the problem. And then you're just putting the two together. And if you think about it as sales as helping people, that is the easiest way to think about it. Like as someone who, I was saying to you before, Diego, I'm not a natural salesperson. I sort of, in my head internally, I'm like, oh, every time I do it. I can't sell something I don't believe in. I can't sell something where I don't think there's a decent outcome. So some people can sell anything because their motivation is money or their motivation is status, and that's awesome. That's cool. That is you. Awesome. Well done. That is not me. So for the people, this is the advice for the people who feel super terrified about the idea of going and making a sale. Feel super terrified about the idea of talking to people. And literally it's, if you've already been talking to people about your product, you passionately believe in your product, you love your product, you've already been talking to people, but you've actually been doing sales this whole time. You just don't know, right? You've been doing sales this whole time because as soon as you get someone interested in your product and they're like, oh, this is cool, and they tell someone else, that's sales. As soon as you get someone who goes, hey, that's really, really cool, tell me more, send me some information about it, that's the first step in sales. Because sales is just finding out that person's problem, understanding how your product is going to solve that problem for them, and then asking for the sale. So it's not enough to just be like, hey, I've got this product, maybe you can help. It's literally going, cool, so here's how it can help. And then what's something called objection handling, which is if they say, but my case is special and unique. But what about my llama?
Yeah.
But how am I going to solve it for this problem? And then you say, well, this is how it solves the llama problem. Mm-hmm. But effectively, you're bringing it back to you've got a problem. Your problem is so bad, it's so painful that you will pay money to solve it. Mm-hmm. You'll pay money to solve it. So if the person, when you're meeting that person, you find out, what's their problem, how bad are they willing to solve it, and do they have the money? Really important question. Do they have the budget? Can they afford to do it? If they have the problem and the problem is big, and they're willing to solve it with money, then that is the sale. If they don't have those things, then there's no sale. Because especially with your end users, the difference between the buyer and the end user has the problem, and they often have the pain point, but they don't have the money. Mm-hmm. So you need them to go and get the buyer and to convince the buyer on your behalf, right? That's an influencer. That's a person who influences the sale. So they're either a decision maker, they have the money, the decision maker has the money, they're willing to spend the money, and they see the problem. They want to solve the problem. Those are the three things that you need to make a sale. And the last thing you have to do is once you've established that, there's kind of a moment where everything pauses and there's like a crotchet beat in music. It's just boom, right? Yeah. And that is the point where you close the sale. You let them think, you shut up, and you go, so, would you like to sign? Shall I send you a contract? Or, so, would you like to buy? You ask for the sale. And then you shut your mouth. You literally shut your mouth. You say nothing, and you wait. You might have to wait for a minute. You might have to wait for 5 minutes. It's going to get pretty damn uncomfortable, right? It's going to get super damn uncomfortable. But you wait, and you zip your mouth, and then you watch that person's body language. And they'll either be like, yep. But at that point, if you've asked for the sale and their body language is like this, they're closed, they're not going to do it. But if their body language is open, their hands are out, their arms are out, they're looking relaxed, learn body language, learn how to understand when people are relaxed versus closed, open versus closed. If you're asking for the sale at that point and they can see the need, you'll know there's that beat. You go, you can see that they've made a decision. You can see that they've made the decision to buy. Mm-hmm. So that's the point where you say, awesome, let's close the sale.
Cool.
Yeah. What's the next step? So a big sale, it's like, cool, what's the next step? Shall I send you a contract? A small sale, it's like, cool, shall I get my, how many units would you like? Yeah. so that's the point where you close the sale and you wait for them to respond.
And how would you gauge, like how much value it's got, the product's got for either the buyer or the user? Because it might have a high value for the user, low value for the buyer because it's not their problem.
That happens all the time.
Yeah,
that happens all the time. That is like a classic story for offices, for example, right? So the important thing at that point is to be able to quantify, so that you turn it from a problem for the end user to a problem that say it's like, I'll just use a really basic example of software, right? So the end user is a developer and they really need to piece of software. It's super painful for them. They have to spend half a day setting up a whole bunch of other stuff because they don't have the software. So you would go to the manager and you would say, hey, my software saves your developer half a day of work. And the developers work, say, 180 an hour.
Yeah.
Right? So literally I'm quantifying, it's 700 or whatever it's 760 for that you're basically quantifying like how much money or how much in resources or how much in time that person is up to. You're turning it from something that the end user cares about to something that the decision maker cares about.
Yeah.
Right? They might not care about the hassle for developers, but they might care about, hey, my developer was out for half a day fixing this broken thing because but your software can fix it in 2 hours or 1 hour, and that only takes my developer 1 hour instead of 4. It saves me this much money. So that's how you do it. You make sure that you're speaking the language that's important to the people that are actually going to make the decision.
Yeah, that makes sense, because when you're in the industry and you want to ask for funding, you go and you do a whole business case, and then you come up with the data and then present it to your manager, and that's how they decide. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yes, that's exactly it. Business case. It's like, what's the business case?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Why should I care? If you can bring all your sales pitch down to why should I care, and make sure that the reason that they should care is matched to what your product's offering, and you're matching that reason to the industry, to the solution you're offering. Again, it comes down to, at your core, you're trying to help that person solve their problem, right?
Yeah.
And sure, there's money involved, but actually, at its core, you are helping that person solve their problem. And if you're not in it for that, then why do you want to sell your product? If you're not in it because you genuinely believe in your product, because it's a baby. And sometimes, to be honest, entrepreneurs are not the best people to sell their product. Sometimes, actually, especially when you come from a technical background, you're an introverted person, which is not a barrier. It's not a barrier to sales if you're an introvert, not at all. But if you are highly analytical, you will find it hard to do sales. If you're thinking about the DISC profile, personality type, if you're highly analytical, you've got or an amiable personality type, which is when you want to ask people you don't tell you ask. You're very can be very task focused rather than people focused. When you're in that corner, you're task focused and you're an ask, not a tell. So you're more passive at communication. That is when it's really hard to do sales. And sometimes actually, you might think, can I bring someone else alongside with me, and I can just be the expert in the room and have that person lead the conversation and have me just be there to answer questions? That is also okay. That is an option that you have. It might be that you need to actually pay that person. It might be that that person is a friend that can do that as a business person that can do that as a favor for you, to help you as a mentor, support you through that. It might be that you hire a salesperson on commission and you do that, or with a very low retainer. It's preferable to hire people with a low retainer as well, so that it's more of an incentive for them to do it. But either way, you don't have to do that alone, but you do have to get comfortable talking to people about your product first before you can go into sales, because you have to know your product inside out, and you have to be able to understand not what's important to you, but what's important to the people that you are selling to. No, it's not about you. It's not about you. It's about, how does my product solve this person's problem? And as soon as you can answer that, and you can quantify in terms that that person cares about how it's going to solve their problem, they will throw the money in. They will pay. Because you're solving their pain. You're literally taking their pain away. You're taking their problem away. Sometimes, as someone said to me a while ago, they were a physiotherapist. They said, people will throw money at me to take their literal pain away, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. People will throw money at me to take their pain away. And I was like, awesome. That makes total sense. So whether it's metaphysical, emotional pain or mental pain or physical pain, people will pay to remove pain. So as long as you can show how your product's going to remove that pain and that it's going to be a better outcome for them, people will take it because you're helping them,
Yeah. Have you got any quick examples on, like phrases or words that you would use or, you've heard been used, like I'm selling this product X. I mean, you wouldn't say I'm selling this product X, give me Y amounts of money, right? So, if you could frame it that way, what would you say?
Well, that tip is really, you want to take people on the journey. So you're coming to meet them from a place of curiosity. Like, tell me about what's going on right now. So a really good way. It's open questions. It's, okay, so tell me about your business right now. Like, tell me about, and later on you can ask people when you've got a bit more deeper into that personal relationship, you can ask them what's challenging, what's challenging right now. Or you can, so for example, how are you going with X right now? So this mental well-being app I'm working on, it's amazing. So I'm like, okay, how are you going how are your employees going right now? Because we know that mental health and burnout are huge issues for people at the moment, right? Especially post-COVID. We know people are still struggling. So I might be meeting someone, I might be like, okay, so, how's it going? Script might be something like, how's it going? Cool. Give you all my stickers, aren't I? Going.
That's great.
Genuinely, how, connect with that person first. How is that person? Connect with that person first, because you are ultimately, it's about building a connection with that person before you go into the sales stuff. How are you going? What's going on in the business right now? And then building on that, okay, so what's challenging about that? And ask good questions, what's challenging about that? What help do you need? How can I help you? Those are the questions. How can I help you is the question. At its core, that is the question. How are you going? How can I help you? I'm here to help you, so how can I help you? What do you need? And then sometimes there's not a fit. Sometimes what they actually need is something different. And you can say, hey, look, I've really enjoyed meeting with you. It doesn't sound like there's a good match between what you're looking for and what I can bring. Thanks so much for your time. Bye. That is also a script. Cool. No is also a script, Yeah.
Oh, well, that was kind of like a short one, but, I think that's been really insightful because, like I like how you, how you frame it. If you approach it as helping people with, sales, because, when you're developing a product, when you're creating something, it's also the same, you're actually trying to help people. So you develop something that helps a problem. So looking at it from that lens, for a sales perspective is, it's kind of like it combines really well for the whole mission and purpose of the product. So totally, yes. I like that. Yeah.
No, it is honestly what I use for myself. Okay, like whenever I think, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I think, no, I'm here to help people, and this is a way that I'm helping people. This is how it works. I'm here to help people, right? And it helps you get over that, because if you think about it that way, there's less pressure. You're not putting pressure on yourself, because when there's so much pressure, sometimes people put pressure on themselves with sales because it's scary, because it's hard, perceived to be really, all of those things, because there's a possibility of rejection. Absolutely, someone could say no, but the worst they're going to say is no. Okay.
Yeah.
And we need to manage our own. As part of that, we need to know ourselves really well and manage our own our own triggers, our own trauma, to make sure that we're not, that we can handle that. But if we think about it honestly, from that perspective of, hey, I'm offering something to help you. If it doesn't help you, then it's not for you, and it's fine. Like that just takes the pressure off it. It takes that. You're not trying to get one up over people. You're literally offering something that could help. And if it doesn't help, then you say, hey, it sounds like I can't help you today, but let's keep in touch. And you maintain that relationship that you build with that person. So you build that relationship, you see how you can help, and if you can't help, you just step back out again and say, cool. And there may be another time that you can help. There may be something else. It may be that they remember you later and think, actually, that person had a really good solution for this thing, which wasn't for me, but and a lot of the time people will say, say, oh, hey, why don't you talk to XYZ? And you go, awesome, thank you. And then you take that and you say, hey, so-and-so said I should talk to you because of XYZ.
Mm-hmm.
And you use that as an introduction because, again, people want to work with people that their friends have recommended. Mm-hmm. So you want to, it's gold, right? Mm-hmm. They might, and people want to help. Like, if you come at it from the perspective that you want to help them, people fundamentally are good and want to help. There's maybe 5% of the population that's psychopathic and that's not something that we can help. But generally, most people aren't coming to work to have a bad day. Mm. Most people are coming to work to have a good day, to do their best. And even when we think, why did you, it's really important to think, I'm here to help this person can help me. If there's not a fit, there's not a fit. Mm. And just because there's not a fit now doesn't mean there's not a fit in 3 years, Yeah. And so it's really important to just think of it from a relationship point of view.
Yeah. I quite like that. Yeah. Because, in a way that we were talking about the community management just before, and, it kind of like it keeps them within their community, and, something that's not a fit for them right now might not, doesn't mean that there won't be a fit for them in the future.
Later in the future. Yeah, absolutely. Or that it's not a fit for their friend or their business partner or someone else that they know. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And in New Zealand, and as someone who's worked overseas, and you probably know this too, you cannot burn your bridges. Mm-hmm. You cannot burn your bridges. It is just, you cannot. Because New Zealand is only 1.5 degrees of separation, and we all talk to each other. Like, we all talk to each other. We know each other. Especially at those levels, the entrepreneurship levels, like the circles are small. So, it might be that, so how you treat people is really important. So it might be that you treat people, if you can help people, you can help people. If you can't help right now, that's okay. Maybe you can help later. Okay. But if you come from that attitude, that's important. That's the main thing. Just come from that attitude, and it will help you deal with disappointment. It will help you deal with rejection. It will help you deal with, because it's your baby. It's your baby, and it's your precious baby, and you're offering it out to the world, and it's so precious, and it's so scary. Yeah. And you can get help. You can bring other people with you. You can get other people to help you on that journey, so you're not doing that alone. Yeah. And
your baby cannot help everyone, I guess. So it kind of it can make sense.
No. Yeah. But as long as you make sure that you upfront, you're checking. Does this person have money? I can't tell you the number of sales calls I've done where at the end in that conversation I found out that person doesn't have the money. They don't have decision power. They can't make a decision. Like, cool, awesome, okay. So, hey, who can make this decision? Find out from them who can make that decision. So, and can you introduce me? So the 2 scripts for that. 1, okay, who can make that decision?
Yeah.
Number 2 is, can you introduce me?
That's quite powerful because I've heard that the introduction, it's kind of like it comes with a certain weight along with it, so it's great.
Yes, yeah. So that is your script. And if they're on board with what you say and they want to, they're your influencer. So they will go and introduce, and they will also, behind the scenes, they will work with that person to get them over the line for you. So that person is still very important. Very important.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. It's an insider kind of like it's an inside job almost because you're influencing these people.
Yeah, it is. It's an inside job at that point. Yeah. So you want to keep in touch with that person as well. You want to keep on their radar as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you are both, you and the influencer are both working together to get the senior decision maker over the line. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Cool. Thank you very much. I know we had like I have such a wonderful time speaking and just learning so much and sorry it took this long and 2 episodes but it's been quite it's an experience for me. It's been quite insightful, and I hope that I know people will find it valuable. So thank you very much for your help.
Oh, thanks, Diego. No, you're so welcome. I think it will. I hope it will just help other people feel a bit more relaxed about sales, especially because I know a lot of you listening are going to be coming from that, from that engineering, from that building, that manufacturing, that developing. This is like completely foreign to you, and I know that, and as I'm saying, it's we know it's scary. Like it's scary for me, and this is what I do that works for me. Find the ways that work for you, and remember that you can do it. You don't have to do this alone, but just remembering that you're there because you've got this product that you love, right? You're there because you've got this thing that you want to bring to the world, and this is how you're just telling people about it. You're just saying, hey, cool, do you want to do this? Can I help you with this? And if you think of it that way, it just makes it so much easier. And it's less pressure. You don't have to put yourself under pressure. You don't have to put yourself up into knots about it. The worst that someone can say is no. The worst someone can say is no. And maybe, throw in some insults about your product on the side. And it hurts because it's your baby. But you don't have to do it by yourself. You can get help. If you really can't do sales by yourself, get your help. Get your friends. Hire someone to do it. You don't have to do the scary, hard stuff alone.
I think that's definitely a quote. You don't have to do the scary stuff alone. True.
Yeah. But
that's going in the post.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for listening to Resolve by Creolab. If you would like to know more about how to turn your product idea into a successful reality based on industry interviews, best practice, research, and your feedback, follow this podcast and my socials for the latest content.